It's an absolutely beautiful day out here today, you know that? It's lovely, considering it's nearly, well, it is autumn, isn't it? Coming up for Halloween. In case you're wondering what that noise is, my wee case, I'm going off to my sister's today. My sister and my brother-in-law's over in Bothwell, which is where originally I'm from. My glasses keep falling off. You see that little case down there? Just in case you're wondering. You see it? I've got my coat over it. It's really nice out here, you know that? The sun is shining, it's very warm. I've got a big jumper and a scarf on. My mother always used to say, and she's quite right, that I dress very inappropriately for the season or time of weather, whatever it is. In winter I'll wear t-shirts, in summer I wear jumpers. My sister and my brother-in-law and my niece are just back from Euro Disney. They went away to Disneyland in Paris, which is somewhere I've been lucky enough to have been. Let me think, how long have I been there, or how often, how many times? About 4 or 5 times, and she's got all these pictures and videos to show me. I just wanted to show you my little keyring that I got because I love, see, like roller coasters, theme parks. I'm a huge theme park fan, and I've got it from the Hollywood Tower of Terror, which is the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. I don't know if you can see it. My keys for the front door, and on it, it's the, can you see it? The Hollywood Tower of Terror. They're quite difficult to get. I actually bought 2 of them, and it's room 1313. Quite apt for living in a mental asylum, isn't it? Or a refurbished mental asylum. I actually bought 2 of them, and just as well because that's the key ring I use for the flat, and it just kind of wore out and faded just by getting thrown around, and then I get rid of it and changed it over for the other one that I'd bought, or that one there I just showed you. I thought I'll just jump online to see if I can see them, and you cannot get them anymore. And I think I only paid like 4 or 5 pounds or euros at the time, about a £5 each, and there's people selling them on eBay and Amazon for like £45. But I will hold on to mine, I like it. And in fact recently, or just a couple of weeks back, someone asked me, they went, because I was round at their flat and they had a friend round and the key ring was lying on the table, and she went, "Oh, the Hollywood Tower, how nice, have you been to Hollywood?" I went, "Well, yeah." I said, "But look at the room number I had, room 1313. We are jumpers. You've got to remember that there is part of the psychiatric unit is still working over there. The part that I live in is the, I know I keep saying it, but is the refurbished bit up there, and that was the original hospital. But part of the new hospital that they kind of decanted everyone down to is just over there in the distance. It's well hidden. But of course, this path is not technically part of the hospital. Anyone can walk along it, but you do get a lot of the patients who will come out for a wee stroll or a wee walk and you can always tell when you're out having a walk if, you know, 2 or 3 of the patients are walking, are out for a stroll. You certainly shouldn't judge people that are in a psychiatric unit for whatever reason they're in there, but you can spot them. And I'm not being funny when I say that, but they do tend to have a kind of doped up look. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm unsure if there's obviously a time they are allowed out, you know, but there's obviously a time that they must be back for, because, and the only reason I say that is that any time I come out for a stroll down here or a walk, as many people do, not just patients, they're always very pleasant, they always seem very nice, they'll always stop and say hello, but they always ask what time it is. They'll always ask me, and I think they ask everyone, because I was out here once for a walk and there was a couple, you know, 20-30 metres up ahead of me, just out for a walk with their dog, and there was a couple of patients that walked down, stopped and asked them. I heard them, what time is it? They told them the time, then they got down to me, what time is it? You know? I remember on one occasion there was, I think there was 4 of them out, 4 or 5, a little group, and they were all together, and they were all walking down by me, and each together, and each one of them stopped. Hi there. Each one of them all together, considering they were all together, each one of them asked, what time is it? And I went, oh, it's 4 o'clock. And the next one, what time is it? 4 o'clock. Did we get the time? 4 o'clock. What time is it? So they must have to be back for a certain time, and they're just wanting to check. I think they all wear watches as well, but you can usually spot them when they're. You can usually spot them if they're walking towards you. One of them passed me earlier, not in any of these videos, and he just stopped. He stopped when he saw me. He must have been. He was kind of looking. He never asked what time it was, but I think he was just wondering what I'm doing. You know, you think they might be a bit loopy. I'm the one that's walking down here talking into my hand. Happy days, glory be. It's actually quite nice just to come out for once without carrying an umbrella. I've just got my case and my coat over it. Makes a wee change. Me at my sister's now, but remember how earlier I was saying I'm a big theme park fan, like Disneyland, and how they were away there, and they brought me back because they're back now. I'm a big Hollywood Tower of Terror, you know, the lift drop ride that goes up and down, the Hollywood Tower of Terror. And I showed you the key ring earlier. Well, they brought me back a new key ring. It's awesome. Look at this. So that's obviously my keys. Yeah. This is the actual key ring. It's like a, I don't know if you can see it. I hold it in front of my top. So it's like a gold key. See that? Isn't that awesome? It's so cool. And it's got the HTH, the Hollywood Tower. And there's the little, like the original kind of keyring thing. Room 1313. Isn't that brilliant? I absolutely love it. I can't believe that I was talking earlier about getting a new one, or just talking about it, and now they've brought one back. I really, really like it. It's really quite cool. Goodness, do you know, of all the years that I've lived in Bothwell, I've never ever walked over the the Bothwell Bridge. Can you see it? Of all the years I grew up, lived here, I've never once walked over it. Here I am walking over it now. That's the Clyde. The Clyde. It's a very busy bridge. Nice little garden down there. I don't like heights. So I'm still out at my sister's, although I'm about to be leaving in a couple of hours. One of the reasons I came out here was because I don't have a printer at home, and my sister very kindly printed some labels off for me. As you know, it's Halloween coming up, a big Halloween fan and Christmas fan. I think I prefer, yes, I think I still prefer Christmas. But anyway, Halloween's coming up, and I asked my sister if she could print a couple of labels off for me, because some of you may have seen online or in store that you can buy, it's like fake bottle labels, you know, so you get a bottle like this. You can buy these in the supermarket for under £1, and you know, you can make a cocktail up, you can put wine in it, any drink in it, and then you can buy those, like, you know, bat's blood or poison labels. You can buy a lot of them in store. They're quite, well, they're a few pounds or a few dollars depending on where you are, and I don't think they look that great, to be honest. The kind of graphics on them are very modern, they're very shiny, they're too new looking, and some of them can be quite pricey, and then everyone has them, you know. So, you know, you can do your own, and that's what I need the printer for. And you can do them, you can really do them for, well, if you've got a printer, to be honest, you can probably do them for nothing, and I think they look a lot better. So all you need to do is, excuse me, all you need to do is jump online, go onto Google Images, and just Google image poison labels or old-fashioned poison labels. It'll bring many labels up, like things like this. You just print them off. So here's a real, and these are real poison labels, by the way. They've even got an antidote on them. So print them off onto a bit of paper. Just select whatever one you want, print them off. And then, as you know, I drink a lot of coffee. Cheers. Nice coffee. So while you print them off, make a coffee, and then just, it is a bit of a waste, well, it's not a waste of coffee, to be honest, but just dribble a couple of tablespoonfuls over the whole paper, over the whole sheet of paper. So it ages it. And then what you can do is you can get 2 or 3 of the granules of coffee and just let them rest on the paper. You can see how, like, that's actual granules of coffee that have then just, because the paper's wet, it's just dissolved into it. If you give them a little rub, you'll get a hole in it like that one. Looks like a burn mark. Looks not bad. Now, a top tip is to rub the coffee and the granules over it before you cut it out. If you cut it out and then try to do it, Sometimes the edges can curl in quite bad, or you can tear it. You don't really get a very smooth edge finish to it. Let them dry and then cut them out. Now I have various ones here. So for instance, there's the poison label that I showed you earlier. I've stained it and cut it out. As a bit, I'm just looking on the camera at it. It's quite kind of faded, but it's in real life it's a bit darker. This is quite a good one. And this is real. It's kind of disgusting in a way, but bed bug poison. Oh. And see where the coffee granules have just kind of settled on it. That looks like little bugs. Looks like little bugs. They've then died or been squashed onto it. So you cut them out. You've got your bottles. I've got 4 bottles here. When I go back home, I'm going to show you a really, really effective way of sticking the labels on, and also at the same time aging and making the bottles appear dusty and old. You're not going to use glue or talcum powder or dust or anything, but I'll do that when I go back home. So once you've printed them off, once you've had your coffee, once you've aged them, what you would generally do in real poison bottles, they would generally have a taller label, like a portrait style label, as opposed to landscape, at the front. This is quite tricky for me to do this, by the way, so I'm not used to doing this unless I'm at home. So what you would do is you would have the original poison bottles would generally have a label at the front. That's quite tricky for me to show you this. Let me sit down, that's better. Oh, I nearly fell off the seat there. Oh, these seats are heavy. So, you would generally have your bottle, okay? And this is in real old-fashioned apothecary type poison bottles. You would generally have a label on the front of the bottle. So it'd be in the front, like that. And you would then usually have a smaller kind of landscape style label on the back of the bottle. Down at the bottom. Just down at the bottom. On the back. So one at the front, one at the front. You can see that? Sorry, I'm too busy looking down here. One at the front on the bottle. And then a smaller one on the back. And the reason for that would be because the taller one at the front would generally have the description of the poison or poisons that are contained in the bottle. The smaller one at the back would have a space for the amount that went out, or the amount that was given, and they would then date it and would sign it. So they knew how much was going in and out. Now when I get back home, I'm going to show you a really good way of getting the labels to adhere to the bottles and really aging them and making them look very good. I'm just back in from my sisters. Always a pleasure to go over there. Always a pleasure to go over there. She's just dropped me off. I'm just looking at the key ring. It's really cool, isn't it? I'm really pleased with that, with my keys on it in the door. The Hollywood Tower Hotel, HTH. I'll probably come in one night and try and use that as a key. It's good, isn't it? And it's made of like metal, it's not plastic or whatever it is. Yeah, that looks quite good. I'm really quite pleased with it. There we go. Always a pleasure to get home. Oops. Oh, something, it's just a thing I've kicked over. I thought that was something at the door. But it's not something at the door. If it was, I wouldn't even answer it. Anyway, right, if you give me a couple of minutes to get my stuff out of my case, I will get those labels out and the bottles that I showed you earlier, and I will carry on with those, the Halloween labelled bottles, or whatever you want to call them. But put the kettle on, and then get some milk. Oh, it's okay. I thought I'd run out of coffee. I've got a, oh. No, it'll get me back. I'm going to put the kettle on, I'm going to have a coffee, and then we will start on those labels. Stick around, they're pretty cool. Stick around for the jokes. I don't know what I'm talking about.